One of the things that we look for in a leader is someone who will treat people fairly, someone who will interact with people impartially. God is a God of impartiality. God is a God of fairness. In the book of Amos, written in the 8th century before Christ, as Assyria is attacking Samaria and carrying it captive, Amos speaks to the country of Israel, the northern kingdom. And he says, you're being punished because you are not fair. Chapter 8, starting in verse 4, listen to this. You who rob the poor and trample down the needy, you can't wait for the Sabbath day to be over and the religious festivals to end so you can get back to cheating the helpless. You measure out grain with dishonest measures. You cheat the buyer with dishonest scales. You mix the grain you sell with chaff, swept from the floor, and then you enslave poor people for one piece of silver or a pair of sandals. What Amos is saying is they look for ways to treat people unfairly. They do that by having a false scale. In the scale in which they would measure out grain to sell them, they put a weight on one side of the scale that says 1 pound, but it only weighs 14 ounces. So they give them less grain. And then the grain itself, he says the grain you mix with chaff, you put filler in with the grain. And then measures that are dishonest. So you measure out a bushel of corn. The basket says bushel, it's 7/8 of a bushel. You treat people unfairly. Amos says, for what? For a piece of silver. For a pair of flip-flops. God calls us to be fair. In fact, in the book of Romans, as Paul is describing God, he says, Romans chapter 2, verses 10 and 11, there will be glory and honor and peace from God for all who do good, all who do good, for the Jew first and also for the Gentile, for God does not show favoritism. Now here Paul is talking specifically about the divide between Jew and Gentile, but it extends to any kind of favoritism. God is impartial. He looks not on the outside, not at skin color. He looks not at social standing. He looks not at the kind of clothes you wear or the address that you happen to live in. He looks at the heart. He looks at the action. And his judgment is based on what's in here, not what's out here. God is impartial. We are to be impartial too. God bless you today. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.